Welcome back to Magical Moms Travel Podcast. In this episode, we're going to discuss one of the most frequently asked questions by Disney enthusiasts and first timers alike. Is Disney World really that expensive? From park tickets and accommodations to dining and souvenirs, we're breaking down the cost of a Disney World vacation. We'll explore some ways to save money, when to splurge, and how to make the most out of your budget without compromising on the magic.
So we're going to start breaking down the major costs that are associated with a Disney World vacation. And we're going to also give you some tips for each one. And so all of us have prepared for you. The first thing that you're probably thinking of when it comes to a Disney World vacation is obviously the tickets to get to Disney World. And so Disney World tickets run on a tiered structure. There's cost differences between a single day ticket, park hopper ticket, and multi-day tickets, water park. There's so many things going on here that a lot of people get confused. So one of the first questions that a travel planner like us will talk to you about is how many days you think you want to visit the Disney World parks. There are 4 parks and 2 water parks. So you want to think about how many days you want to spend there and which parks you want to visit on your trip. And undoubtedly, this is going to be the most expensive part of your trip when you count it up to a family of 5. It's going to be the biggest cost. So sample pricing here for a 4-day ticket average for 2025 was looking around $625 for a 4-day ticket with 1 park per day for those ages 10 and older. So kids, 10 and older, and adults. The next biggest cost is going to be your accommodations. So comparing the price ranges on these Disney resorts, it's huge. But all of us recommend that you stay on property 100%. And for those families that are staying on a budget, you'll see that value resorts are going to be comparable to your offsite options anyway. So we can find you something that's going to work within your budget. The average cost, and now we pulled this for, again, our regular season, so not Christmas season, not spring break, not summer vacation, but an average day at Walt Disney World. A value in a standard room with 2 queen beds per night runs between $175 to $275. A moderate resort, again, standard room or 5th sleeper, will run you between $275 and $400 per night. And a deluxe resort, this one's going to vary a lot, but they start around $500 and can go up to $800, even more during the Christmas season, obviously. So again, keep in mind that these prices can vary greatly depending on the time of year, your resort, your room type. But again, we will work with you. So don't let these numbers stress you out. These are just kind of giving you some parameters to work around in your brain to figure out what you want to do.
We're going to move right into dining because, you got to eat while you're on vacation. And even though our family eats bread and water leading up to our trip so that we can save money, let's talk about some options for when you are dining. So analyzing the costs of dining at Disney World, including quick service versus table service, the Disney dining plan and budget-friendly food tips is super important to keep in mind. Average quick service meals cost between $12 to $17 for adults and about $7 to $11 for kids. The average table service meal costs between $15 and $35 for breakfast, and then lunch and dinner is between $25 and $60. And again, these are all average. You're certainly going to see higher end table services that are more and whatnot, as those can vary. Average character dining meals cost, like for lunch and dinner, between $60 and $75 per adult, and then $38 to $45 per child. Okay, so let's talk about snacks. I would say about $5 to $8 for standard snacks like your pretzels, your ice creams, popcorns, which I recommend getting the refillable popcorn buckets because it's, especially if your family likes popcorn, honestly, just do it and thank me later. We love that snack. Specialty snacks can range from $8 to $12, and water bottles are $4. So if you're caught buying water at Disney, you're a fool. Do not buy water at Disney, honestly. So there's many ways to save with dining for budget cautious families. Right off the bat, skip dining plan and plan to eat as many meals as you can with your own groceries if you're really looking to save the most money, okay? Sandwiches in the parks, to quick services. This is if you're not really interested at all in experiencing Disney dining. Okay, so I'm not saying that we're recommending this for everybody, because our family doesn't personally do this. We are there, we want to eat the darn Disney food, but that is an option to save a lot of money, is literally eat as much as you can by preparing the food in your room. Sandwiches, good old peanut butter and jelly, whatever, Lunchables, whatever you got to do. There are a lot of families that save tons of money doing that. The other thing too is if you're not a big drinking family alcohol, then you can limit alcohol drinks and ordering Instacart water and groceries to your room. So that's going to save you the most money if you're really looking for staying within that tight budget. So the other thing too is sharing meals saves money. So quick services, we're a family of 5, 3 kids, although my oldest is considered an adult, which is quite laughable because she's 10 and she doesn't eat adult food. But for a family of 5 on a typical park day, we will eat 1 quick service and possibly a table service. Otherwise, we'll do 2 quick services, and we literally share quick service meals. We will get either 3 adult meals or 2 adult meals and 1 kid meal, and we split that between the 5 of us, and that is plenty. So if you are going to do something like that, you can save that way too. The dining plan, I know that we've talked about in other episodes, it can be a really, really great option. It's definitely not necessarily your number one budget friendly option, but it can be a good option if you want to experience, the Disney food, you want to pay up front, maybe you are wanting to enjoy an alcohol beverage at your meals. Okay, so let's shift into travel. So I'm going to break down transportation costs from flights to car rentals, Mears Connect, and other options. So flights are going to vary, obviously, from where you're located to the Orlando airport. The further away you are, the more expensive. An easy way to calculate this is to go to Google Flights in your local airport flying to MCO. Google Flight actually has a lot of data that you can see the highest price, the lowest price, the average price of any given month in the near future. But this does depend heavily on how far you're looking to book out to. So you do want to compare the budget airline versus the bigger standard airlines and what they include versus how much luggage you need to bring. So if you are a seasoned traveler and you have all these perks and whatnot and the credit cards and all those things, then maybe the flying portion is the cheapest for you because you've got a lot of points and that type of thing. But if you don't, or you don't fly often, this is definitely can be an expensive part, especially if you want to, like our family, be picky with the times that we fly out and the times that we come in. Like some of those are just non-negotiables for our family. And so if you have flexibility there, then obviously you can find cheaper flights. So April, what would an average flight cost coming from your South Carolina, right?
Yeah. So just a lot of the things you said already, you talk about budget airlines or how much luggage you need. And so we're just a family of 3. And currently we have been able to do like 1 checked bag to where we can all kind of pack most of our stuff in that bag and then each have a backpack. If we're going for an extended period of time, that has worked for us. If we're only going for like a quick trip and a weekend, we can pack in a backpack. And so the luggage isn't a big thing for us. So on a budget airline, I have seen prices of like $90 round trip per person. And so I would say anywhere from like 90 to like 200 would be a round trip, just depending on the airline that you're going to fly and the time of year. The time of year makes a big difference too.
Yeah. Wow. $90. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think we have flights that cheap here. So I'm in Michigan, and an average flight cost is going to be between $300 and honestly $400. I have flown out to Orlando when the 3 of us took a Universal trip a couple years ago, and I flew Frontier Airlines. It was a little sketchy, but they did have seats on the plane, so I was happy once I found sit down and not stand. I'm just kidding. And that flight was super cheap. I think it was like, I don't know, it was like 20 or $30. So you can find some cheaper ones, but an average flight I would say is between about 300 and 400, depending on depending on the time and the season and all that and when you book. What about you, Lena?
Yeah, so I have 3 airports that I can use just because I'm in the tri-state area, so I can go one direction or the other to try to find the cheapest flight. I am okay with doing the budget airlines because it's only about an hour and a half flight, usually. So I'm usually okay with going with the budget airlines and packing my backpack, and everyone has a backpack, and we might do like April said, a big luggage if we need to. And so, for quick trips, for my solo trips, I've seen anywhere from 50 round trip to on a budget airline to even like upwards of 300-400 on one of the standard airlines. Again, depending on the year, the time of year, and the dates. Obviously, weekends are going to be more expensive than the middle of the week. Those kind of things take into account, but. Yeah, we can find cheap deals because a lot of people like to fly to Orlando from the tri-state area, so it's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know when you guys are always talking about your trips, I know that there is variety in what airports you can go to, and that's not really the case for me. So I'm kind of always stuck with whatever is there, but it's okay. So another option to really consider that can save a lot of money, which our family has done the last 2 years, is driving. So no matter where you are, obviously, if you're across seas somewhere, you ain't driving. But if you're, in the United States and you're somewhat at a place where you could drive in like a day or two, it might be something to consider. So our family drove the last 2 years and literally spent about $500 total, actually less this last trip, on gas. We are driving from Detroit to Orlando, so it's well, Waze or Google Maps, they all say 16, 17 hours. My butt, it's usually about 21 hours of a drive. So, but with little kids, you got to stop every so often. So about $500 for gas, which is not bad. So there's like one flight seat right there. And then we do stop in a hotel on the way down, and we get like something cheap, but right off the expressway that's not, too sketchy. And then that's usually about 100 to 120 bucks. And then on the way back, the same. So probably about 700 bucks driving. And we've really liked that for our family because we save on flights, and then we kind of turn that into a little adventure in and of itself, even though the drive is horrifically long. So the other thing too is you can have your car for free on property if you're driving in. And so we've liked having our car there. Free parking if you drive and you don't need additional transportation to and from the airport, on top of flight costs. And then backing up really quick before we move on is when you're at the airport, there are tons of different options you can use to take transportation to your hotel. So Disney used to provide free transportation that no longer exists, but that is now Mears Connect, and that's a popular option. And there's 2 different types. You could get like a private van, which is a little bit more expensive. And then you can do regular Mears Connect, which is like the big buses, which are actually really awesome because it gives you like that Disney feel. And I think that's about like $30 per person round trip or around there. It's fairly inexpensive. You can use Uber, you can use private services, which it depends if you need a grocery stop. There's a lot of private services that will allow you to stop, but it just really depends. But that is a cost that you need to consider into your budget if you are flying, the transportation fee from the airport to the hotel, because it's usually about a 30-minute drive. So if you're doing Uber, it all can add up. So those are things that us as your travel planners can help you with and kind of help work into your budget the best that we can.
There's another area though that I wanted to talk to you about that costs can sneak up on you and add up very quickly. And you're not even going to know what hit you when you go home and like look at that credit card bill. That's going to be like the extras and the souvenirs. And what do I mean by this? Just imagine that you're walking around and every 30 feet or so, there's a cart with like light up necklaces, such as these lovely ears, bubble blowers, popcorn buckets, all the things, are just in your kids' faces and they're in strollers. And so these carts are kind of at their level and they can see all the things flashing at them
Leave the
and they want
popcorn
it.
buckets out of it. You hear me? Leave the popcorn buckets out of it.
The regular popcorn buckets are worth it. This waiting in line for popcorn buckets for like 2 hours is crazy to me. But the regular popcorn buckets, yes.
That fit like 3 pieces of popcorn in it. It's like almost embarrassing how the specialty popcorn buckets don't even fit popcorn.
We have some of them. I'm not saying we don't, because of course my kid wants them, and so we give in and we're like, sure, we'll get a popcorn bucket. But anyway, these costs can really sneak up on you because a bubble blower is going to average anywhere from $25 to $30. You just want to know that going in, that you need some extra spending cash. These wonderful, lovely, cute Mickey ears, they can range anywhere from $25-ish to $45, and most of them are going to be around that $45 mark. And when you're saying every member of your family wants a set of ears to be cute at Disney World, that adds up quickly. Next up, I want a big warning alert. Like, it just be warning. If you've never been to Disney World, maybe you live under a rock and you've never been to like a theme park or anything. Almost every ride you go in is going to route you through a gift shop when you exit the ride. Kids are going to want all the things. It's usually going to be toys or merchandise or whatever that is themed to the ride that you just came off of or whatever land that you're in. And kids are going to want something everywhere you go. And so you kind of have to set expectations with your kids before you go. Maybe give them a gift card with a budget on it, or just set expectations that you only have X amount of dollars, whatever, to spend. Aside from all of those types of things that you need to take into account, there are extra add-on experiences. And some examples of these are things like the Bippity Boppity Boutique. And that's where your little princess or prince can go and get a makeover and get dressed up. And they have this wonderful, like, Cinderella fairy godmother experience. And it's so cute, but it can add up. I think the packages start at something like $99, upwards of, I think it's maybe $500. For our Star Wars fans, we've got Savi's Workshop over at Hollywood Studios, where you can have this whole lightsaber experience and build a lightsaber. And so if those things are important to you, they're definitely worth it. It's usually a once in a lifetime experience. They're very unique experiences. You're not going to forget them. There's going to be magical memories made for a lifetime. So how can you be budget friendly? Like I said before, you can buy souvenirs ahead of time and bring them from home. A huge chunk of your budget that you're just going to be scanning those magic bands and money doesn't feel real. And you're going to get home and be like, what have we done?
I just want to add really quick, this is where like the psychology behind impulse shopping really gets you, because you're already in this like mental mindset of, oh, it's Disney and this and that. And like money is typically one of the last things that you're thinking about when you're on your vacation and you're like emotionally in the moment. So these are like pre-planning things that you need to do at home to really set those budgets around things like souvenirs. Like we always cap each child, which it's a lot, but we cap each child at like $60. They get $60 to spend in Disney, and
that's really not a lot for Disney. That goes fast.
Yeah. So it's like, a pen
Right.
and a piece of paper, but and they have to find whatever they want within that budget.
Yeah, and I was also going to say another perk of having your car is you can go to the discount Disney stores. The local Target, the local Walmart have such cute Disney things. Take your kids there and let them pick out more souvenirs, because I think a lot of kids, they're not used to those prices, so they're going to get disappointed if they give a $50 budget and they can't buy a sweatshirt because that's cost more than $50 or whatever it is. Then take them to those places and they can actually get what they would really love, and your budget will stay intact. Okay, so we have a listener question here. How do you plan a budget-friendly Disney World vacation without missing out on the best experiences? And I think we kind of alluded to the fact that You really just need to go and know all of these things that can add up and then pick your priorities. So for us, our priority is going to be staying on site, and it's been so worth it. We've done all types of trips. We've done the Airbnbs, we've done the good neighbor hotels, we've done staying on site, and staying on site was just night and day for us. It's something that we prioritize. And so if I'm looking at our vacation budget and it's a little bit tight, then I will look at a value resort, or I'll look at staying maybe one less day, etc., because I know staying on site is so important to us. And then or we'll do things like driving, we'll buy groceries. And my kids are a little bit picky eaters too. So even bringing in the sandwiches is better for us than paying, the $20 for a meal that they're not going to eat.
Yeah, I would have to agree. When I read that listener question, the thing that stuck out to me was the best experience. And again, for us, always stay on site. There's like no other option for us. And we have made sacrifices like driving. We order a lot of groceries to the hotel and do the best we can there with snacks and that type of thing. I do buy some things at home, like souvenir-ish type stuff, so that I can just kind of have those on backup if the kids don't find things that they want. But not having to worry about parking or transportation, excuse me, around the parks. I will never forget this dear sweet family that traveled with me not that long ago, stayed in a local city, not too far away, and they had like 10 kids. It was like a combination family. They had a newborn, actually a newborn, a little baby. And despite my strong recommendation to stay on site, they didn't. And that was like the biggest regret for their family and the driving and all those things. So we want to be immersed in the Disney atmosphere, and that adds to the best experience when you're not in the parks, because the parks are a huge part of the experience, but they're not the only part. Being on those resorts is so magical. And so hands down for us, finding whatever way you can to stay on resort, even if it's the awesome value resorts, are worth it.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. Staying on property is a non-negotiable for our family. We too have done the Airbnbs and the staying off site, trying to save money. But I got to tell you, maybe the Airbnb was a smidge cheaper, but then you had the headache of driving your own car and driving through traffic and navigating to get to and from the parks. And of course, it was my husband driving, but he hated it. So the first time we stayed on property, he was sold. Even if it was to get on a Disney bus or whatever, to have somebody else driving you around and navigating, and you like basically not to have to use your brain, was a huge selling point for him. So he was like, it doesn't matter to me if we have to stay at the cheapest budget resort to be able to stay here. I'm staying on Disney property when we come to Disney. Also, our family really loves, and maybe it's because we have a younger child. I mean, she's under 10, and we've been going since she was 3. But we really love the in your face theming of, especially the Art of Animation resort, but the value resorts, because they're so colorful and they're so fun and they're so Disney. And I guess I'm going to say it's like 90s Disney, because it's all of the favorite movies from our childhood, but yet our kid loves them too. And it's what we think of when we think of going to Disney. And I know a lot of people don't love that.
I love that you guys shared all of these unique insights that really just bring things to light. I think when people think of a Disney World vacation, they are probably either in two schools of thought. It's not worth it, it's too expensive, or we really want to make it happen for our family. And so they're trying to manage those two conflicting things. And so this is why we're going to make this a series. So we're going to even go into some cost saving challenges, giving like an kind of a example of what it looks like to work with us, and you give us a budget and then we come up with a plan for you. We're going to talk about what things we think are worth the hype and what experiences are not. We're going to talk about Disney versus other vacations, just comparing apples to oranges, but the costs of different things, cruises, etc. We're going to talk about, does it really look like to compare these? And then we also are going to have some fun. So we're going to start by, in this episode, doing a Price is Right game. So if you are listening right now and you want to join us, you totally can. I'm going to pull up my list. I have 8 today to go through, and I want you to guess the price of the thing that's related to your Disney World vacation. And my co-hosts here, Carla and April, are going to do that too. And let's see if they know the answers to these questions.
She's
All
putting
right.
us on the spot, guys. Like, what is happening?
If you do play along with us, go ahead and share it in our social media channels. If you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, go ahead and share it with us, like what your score was. We'd love to hear it. And if you have thoughts. All right. So number 1. The Price is Right. 1 night stay at Disney's Pop Century Resort in a standard room on Christmas Eve, 2024. How much is that going to cost?
How many people?
I think I put 2 adults.
Can you see it?
No.
No.
Yes.
200,
Slightly. So April says 250. Carla
I said 350, with
350.
taxes, those
You're right.
Okay.
Come on now.
Okay. Well, I didn't include tax. I just looked this up briefly. But the actual cost before taxes is $267 for that night.
Ooh.
Not bad for a value resort on Christmas Eve, to be
No.
honest. All right. Next one, number 2, a sit-down dining for 1 adult at Cinderella's Royal Table. Again, I did not calculate taxes and gratuities, but before that, what is the cost for you to reserve a spot for 1
I
adult?
don't remember, but I'm gonna say $70.
Just did this. What'd you say, April?
$70.
Yeah, you're probably closer than me.
Carla says 80. It's actually $84.
Ooh.
I should specify too that this is a dinner price, so I think breakfast might be a little bit cheaper. Okay, number 3, a 1-day base ticket for Magic Kingdom for an adult on an average day, so not peak season, in 2025.
I'm probably wrong again.
Okay.
April
said
says 164.
150.
150. 179 actually.
What?
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
And I picked like an average day.
That's why you want to go to multiple park days.
This is true.
Those prices
is
come
true.
down.
This is true. All right, number 4. What is the actual cost before taxes of a Mickey-shaped ice cream bar inside the parks?
I am making up such randomness.
What cheap world are you living in, April? $4.49 my butt.
$4.49.
The one where I've never bought a Mickey bar.
$6.50.
Carla said $6.50. The price is $6.29. Carla was close.
Mickey ice cream bar.
The cheapest snack has now become like the most expensive novelty snack.
Of course. Of course. All right, number 5, Lightning Lane service for 1 day at the Magic Kingdom on an average day.
I have not been looking at those prices, so Lena is getting me.
I said 27.
And Carla, you got it right. It's 27.
Oh, I was close. $2 off.
All right, number 6. Number 6. A pair of deluxe Mickey ears headbands. So not something like this, a little bit more fancier than the one that I am wearing. The newest seasonal edition. How much is that going to cost?
55. Oops, April's still right.
Sorry, I think 45.
Copy. Oh, okay. Thought you were copying.
Yeah.
It's $39.99.
Ah, even cheaper.
Yeah, they can get pricey. They can definitely get up to 55, 60 for sure. Okay, number 7. We have 2 more left. Number 7 is a family-sized popcorn bucket that's refillable. The standard design, the standard edition How much does that cost?
Like just the little buckets, not a specialty.
Yes.
Okay.
14, I said.
13.
13 is correct. Again, these are
Woo!
pre-tax. So you're right about in there anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, final one, number 8. A Minnie Mouse plush toy that's medium-sized.
$45.
$25.
$29.99.
Well,
So
clearly,
again,
I don't
if you,
buy merch.
I really don't do much merch.
I don't know, your wall behind you says differently.
Okay, I buy ears. Sorry.
Liar.
You guys are funny. So if you played along with us, we'd love to hear your score. If any of these surprised you, we'd love to hear that too. But this was just fun. It was a fun, interesting game, and we will keep playing these throughout the series as we talk about how expensive Disney World is.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. I liked that. Testing my
Me
knowledge of
too.
how much money I spend. I don't look at those things until we come home from the trip. Just kidding.
I like to pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yep.
going on someone else's credit card through someone else's bank and whatever.
It's like Monopoly money. It's not
Absolutely.
real.
If you're planning a trip to Disney World and you want to keep your budget in check, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more tips and tricks. Don't forget to leave us a review and share your Disney budgeting hacks with us on social media. Remember, we specialize in budget planning for our guests. We take great pride in making sure that the quotes that we come up with for your family are within or below your budget, and we even share what the add-ons are that you need to think about. So don't forget to follow us on all of the socials, including Instagram, TikTok, and now YouTube. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Thanks to April. And so we would love to hear what you thought of this episode, and we would love for you to support our shows by leaving a review on whichever site you visit.